This episode is going to be rigorous honesty despite the consequences.
First and foremost, when you go from living in the dark, living in denial, living in secrecy, manipulating your way through life, all of those things, the denial and the secrecy and the manipulation, feed shame and feed a breakdown of self. And when you go from that to living in the light, being more authentic, more vulnerable, more out there with your honest self, it totally flips it on its head, where it doesn't feed shame, it feeds power, it feeds confidence and understanding of who you are and stepping into your integrity and all of those things, and it solidifies that, and you know that because you're living an authentic, honest life. The other thing that it does, which is awesome, is trust in relationships. It makes it possible. Without rigorous honesty, trust is not possible. And if you're consistently, rigorously honest, you can create trust. And so being honest not only heals you, it starts to heal the relationship as well. And so it is critical to recovery. So the question is why don't people just be honest all the time? If it's so good, right?
I learned as a kid, if I was honest and told the truth, then I got in trouble, and getting in trouble was like the ultimate thing of survival, right? So I lived this life of just lying because of fear, right?
Yes. The consequences.
Exactly. But once we started recovery, and especially after full disclosure, a full therapeutic disclosure, it was still hard emotionally, internally for me to speak my truth.
Because you're scared. We avoid the truth because of that very thing that you're describing. Because sometimes reality is painful. And you're absolutely right in that our brains instinctually do everything we can to not feel pain.
Okay.
And so that's why we lie. We manipulate reality because we don't want to feel the pain.
So we're self-protecting and often protecting those we love by lying.
By lying.
Yeah.
So what's the problem with that?
Well, so
it's kind of obvious, but what's the problem?
The problem is that we don't live in truth, and then our relationship is based upon lies, and...
Well, for the betrayed, for me it was, and I hear this all the time, I'm sure you do too, Brandon, is that it wasn't the actual things that Kobe was doing. They hurt, yes, absolutely, but it was the secrets and the lies, that it was just this pattern of he couldn't be honest in the little things, and definitely not in the big things.
Right. Yeah. It's a simple equation. When you avoid short-term pain, you cause long-term suffering. Yeah. And
whoa,
and that's with anything.
Brandon,
that's a quote.
You gotta repeat that.
When you avoid short-term pain, you cause long-term suffering. When I'm stressed out and so I go eat a jelly donut to numb out that stress and not feel it, it feels good in that moment while I'm eating that donut, right?
Yeah.
But then I add some like gunky, nasty feelings to my day and on top of my stress, and I cause more long-term suffering. Okay. The thing about honesty, it's 100% about stepping into pain. That's all it's about.
Well, and you don't know how the other person will react and show up, and so you really are just saying, I'm taking this step for me, to say I'm going to be honest and live authentic, and you may show up with a lot of anger and hurt.
That might be hard for you, but I am committed to having integrity. Sorry I cut you off, Toby. Your pain in a relationship is a huge opportunity for connection. And this is where we get it backwards. We think if I say things or if I do things that cause the other person pain, then I'm destroying the relationship. Mm-hmm. It's actually if you avoid saying things or if you avoid not feeling pain with them, then you're damaging the relationship.
Totally.
It was the living in lies for so long that eroded my identity, that snatched my self-worth, and I really didn't know who I was. I just learned how to interact with people in like this ecosystem called life in order to not be in pain, right?
Yes.
And I was super good at that. I was super good at that across the board. But that meant that the cost for me internally was my own identity.
Yes.
And I did not
look what you're selling out to avoid that pain.
All of me.
Yourself.
And the crazy part about it is I had no idea that that's what I was doing. Moreover, if you had come back to me and said, hey, Kobe, let's just help you connect some dots here and realize what you're selling out, I probably still would have been like, okay, that makes sense.
But no.
I'm still going to do what
I'm still going to sell out because that's what works for me, and that's what I...
But that's where I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
And that's what causes the least amount of pain.
In the meantime, you're deteriorating and your relationship is too.
And I'm sowing seeds of suffering.
Yes.
But it's
And I
almost
did so
like
for so long.
you don't know what you don't know. And until Kobe experienced a life of authenticity and integrity, he didn't really think it was that much that he was missing.
Right.
Yeah, it's a novel thing.
Well, so you think why people get stuck in this for so long, because one, you don't know what you don't know, so you're oblivious to it, you're ignorant, or you're just oblivious.
This is the way we are, that we function.
It's how I am, and it's what I do, it's how it works.
We label ourselves.
So we label ourselves. Then once you actually figure out that's what you're doing, your brain is still going to say, yeah, but keep doing that, because now you're looking at doing uncomfortable.
Totally.
Now you're looking at stepping into vulnerability. Like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
That is your way out of suffering. That's it. And not until that suffering gets so high do you finally say, you know what, screw it. Like, I'm going to live authentic. I'm going to deal with the pain as it comes because I can't take the suffering anymore.
The person who has lived without identity, authenticity, integrity can reclaim it.
That's where you start to see it, is when you actually start to show up as an honest person.
And that for someone, for me, I'll just speak for myself. For someone who lived without identity and without authenticity and without integrity, it was a novel experience. It was painful, and it's been a process, but it was a novel experience. But it was one that has fostered this trajectory of growth internally and confidence. So I can firmly stand where I am and say, this is my truth.
So this is a deep dive we can do over on Patreon, but it's great that we're saying be honest. But a person who doesn't know who they are, it's hard to go from there to there really quickly.
Yeah.
0 to 100.
Yeah, and so learning how to trust yourself, learning how to recognize who you are, learning how to know what your intuition is saying and what your gut is saying, and recognize those things, and learning how to connect to God and have that connection backing you up. All of those things will help you be an honest person.
I love that.
Yeah. So we're going to do that. We're going to have a deep dive. Ash, you had something.
I just wanted to add that these things can happen. You can show up and be your authentic and honest self, and things don't go great. Maybe you don't get an attaboy pat on the back.
Right.
Keep doing it.
Yes, that's a great point, Ashlyn.
Yeah.
Is because in the end, if you stay consistent with your honesty, I promise you'll have more peace, you'll have better connection in your relationships, and your life overall will be better.
Yeah,
So.
I love that.